What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Saturday, April 2nd. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, we have a 3-game slate tonight. This is the main slate that starts at 7:30 p.m. So let's take a look at the point guard position. I like Mike Conley from the Utah Jazz playing the Golden State Warriors, who have a good defense overall and they've been good versus opposing point guards. But Mike Conley has averaged 28.7 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 28 minutes per game with a 21% usage rate. He's projected at 29.6 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5 times value. He's $5,900 DraftKings salary, and he's $600 less on FanDuel. So I love that FanDuel price. Vegas thinks there's going to be 219 points scored in this game, and Mike Conley has scored 27, 29, and 25 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 30, 32, and 26 minutes. So I like Mike Conley, especially on FanDuel here versus the Golden State Warriors. Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. This guy continues to roll, so I'm going to ride the hot hand here in a high-scoring game. I like Kevin Huerter from the Atlanta Hawks playing the Brooklyn Nets, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing shooting guards. Kevin Huerter has averaged 23.1 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 30 minutes per game with an 18% usage rate, but he scored 35, 31, and 36 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 30, 28, and 33 minutes. And actually, he hasn't scored under 31 fantasy points in all of his last 4 games, so he is on fire. And Kevin Huerter is $5,300 DraftKings salary, $400 more on FanDuel. And I like this pick because Vegas thinks there's going to be 241 points scored in this game. So this is a good game to stack. And I think Kevin Huerter can score 30 plus fantasy points in this game and get you well over 5 times value. So I like Kevin Huerter here versus the Brooklyn Nets. Okay guys, it's time to announce the winner of our $25 weekly PayPal giveaway. And the winner is Mo Fowl. Mo Fowl, congratulations. You are the winner of this week's $25 PayPal giveaway. Please reply to our comment to collect your prize. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won. And we'll send you $25 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you. Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. I like Zach Levine from the Chicago Bulls playing the Miami Heat, who have a good defense overall. They're middle of the pack defending opposing small forwards. Zach Levine has averaged 39.2 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 35 minutes per game with a 29% usage rate. He's projected at 40.9 fantasy points here tonight, and that's 5.5 times value. He's 7,400 DraftKings salary, 100 less on FanDuel, and Vegas thinks there's going to be 220 points scored in this game. Zach Levine has scored 35, 20, and 38 fantasy points in his last 3 games, playing 40, 34, and 36 minutes. So I like Zach Levine here versus the Miami Heat. Okay, now here's a value play. This is a high risk, high reward play on DraftKings. Take a look at Otto Porter Jr. from the Golden State Warriors playing the Utah Jazz, who have a good defense overall, middle of the pack defending opposing small forwards. Otto Porter Jr. has averaged 21.2 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 22 minutes per game with a 15% usage rate. He's projected at 22.8 fantasy points here tonight, and that's 5.4 times value. He's only 4,200 DraftKings salary. Now he has 700 more on FanDuel, so I wouldn't play Otto Porter Jr. on FanDuel. I'd actually go with a guy like Royce O'Neal on FanDuel, who is only 3,700, playing 29 to 33 minutes a game the past 3 games. And if he can just get his season average of 21.1 fantasy points, that would be well over 5 times value on FanDuel. So I definitely prefer a guy like Royce O'Neal on FanDuel, but on DraftKings, I like Otto Porter Jr. He scored 13 and 33 fantasy points in his last 2 games, playing 28 and 26 minutes. And his last 3 games versus the Jazz scored 14, 34, and 48 fantasy points. So he could definitely, go out there and just put up 10 to 15 fantasy points and kind of be a bad mark on your lineup. But he could also go out there and put up 25 plus fantasy points and crush value on DraftKings. So kind of a hit or miss, high risk, high reward tournament play. But I do like this DraftKings play. So I like Otto Porter Jr. on DraftKings here versus the Utah Jazz. Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. I like Jimmy Butler from the Miami Heat playing the Chicago Bulls, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing power forwards. Jimmy Butler has averaged 40.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 34 minutes per game with a 27% usage rate. He's projected at 41.5 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.1 times value. He's 8,100 DraftKings salary, 300 less on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 220 points scored in this game. Jimmy Butler has scored 32, 44, and 24 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 36, 33, and 25 minutes. And I like this pick because Jimmy Butler has scored 37, 40, 55, and 43 fantasy points in his last 4 games versus the Bulls. So I like Jimmy Butler here versus the Chicago Bulls. Okay, another player that I like at the power forward position. Looks like this guy might be back, finally productive once again, playing over 30 minutes. We'll see how it goes here tonight, but I think he's worth rolling the dice on. Take a look at Draymond Green from the Golden State Warriors playing the Utah Jazz, who have a they've got a good defense overall. They're middle of the pack defending opposing power forwards. Draymond Green has averaged 30.7 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 29 minutes per game with a 14% usage rate. He's projected at 29.6 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.3 times value. He's 5,600 DraftKings salary, 400 more on FanDuel. And Draymond Green has scored 39 and 27 fantasy points in the last 2 games, playing 31 and 25 minutes. So I'm hoping he can get over 30 minutes here tonight. He's averaging 1.08 fantasy points per minute. So I like Draymond Green here versus the Utah Jazz. Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. Okay, moving on to the center position. I will continue to play this guy under 8K. I like Rudy Gobert from the Utah Jazz playing the Golden State Warriors, who have a good defense overall, middle of the pack defending opposing centers. Rudy Gobert has averaged 41.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 32 minutes per game with a 17% usage rate. He's projected at 43.7 fantasy points here tonight, and that is 5.8 times value. He's only 7,600 DraftKings salary. Now he is priced up 700 more on FanDuel, so I love that DraftKings price. And Rudy Gobert has scored 53 and 39 fantasy points in the last 2 games, playing 36 and 38 minutes. And he scored 42, 47, 32, and 74 fantasy points in his last 4 games versus the Warriors. So I like Rudy Gobert here versus the Golden State Warriors. Now I also like Nikolai Vucevic from the Chicago Bulls playing the Miami Heat. Although the Heat have a good defense overall and they've been good versus opposing centers, Nikolai Vucevic has averaged 41.8 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 34 minutes per game with a 25% usage rate. He's projected at 42.1 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.3 times value. He's 7,900 DraftKings salary, 200 less on FanDuel. So maybe go Rudy Gobert on DraftKings and Nikolai Vucevic on FanDuel. I like that. And Vucevic has scored 43, 42, and 40 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 39, 30, and 33 minutes. So I like Nikolai Vucevic here versus the Miami Heat. Another guy who's still rolling, playing plenty of minutes, point per minute monster, averaging 1.33 fantasy points per minute, now playing 28 to 31 minutes a game, which means that he can rack up those fantasy points. Take a look at Andre Drummond from the Brooklyn Nets playing the Atlanta Hawks, who have the 11th worst defense overall, give up the 11th most fantasy points to opposing centers. Andre Drummond has averaged 25.5 fantasy points per game on the season, but he was only playing an average of 20 minutes per game with an 18% usage rate, but his minutes per game are now way up there. He scored 29, 35, and 53 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 28, 28, and 31 minutes. So he's projected at 30 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5 times value. He's 6,000 DraftKings salary, 800 more on FanDuel. So I prefer that DraftKings price. So I like Andre Drummond here versus the Atlanta Hawks. Oh, real quick before you get out of here, if you want daily sports betting and player prop picks, we put a link to today's video with our NBA picks, in the bottom of the description of this video. It's our new YouTube channel, so we would really appreciate it if you dropped a like on that video and subscribe to that new channel so it can help us get shown in the YouTube algorithm and you won't miss those daily NBA picks. If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smickety smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.